Cool. So let's start. So
Awesome.
my name is Akshay. I am a security researcher slash smart contract auditor. I generally do public bounties, audit contest and bounties on various platforms. I also do private audits as well. And today, I'll be talking about my auditing strategies and some general tips for beginners as well as medium level auditors. So let's start it. So let's start with a quick intro about audits. So what's an audit? An audit is simply a review of your software to guarantee that it works as the specifications. So whatever you originally wanted to design, whatever you originally wanted to implement, uh, the end product is exactly same as that. And generally it is done by hiring external auditors or even a complete team of auditors. And the intention of that process is to identify anomalies, bugs, or any extreme case scenarios which can happen to your code base or your product. So that's generally is considered as an audit.
So it's not really tied to the code, right? It's more tied to the idea behind the software, the implementation itself.
Yeah. So you can have like audits of various type of code bases. In general, Web 2 architecture as well. Companies go for code audits, right? So the external teams review their code bases and try to identify bugs and
Awesome.
all sorts of things. Yeah. So uh, let's start with the mindset of an auditor. So whenever I start my audits, there are a few things that I always think about the code base. So the first one of them is I always assume that code contains bugs, a lot of them. I start with this thought that the code base that I am about to audit contains various critical level bugs. So and it's my job to identify them and report them. So when you start with that concept or that thought, you automatically comes into a an attacker's mindset, which helps you work hard to find those bugs. And the second thing I try to do is I always try to break assumptions of that code base or the assumptions of the developer team behind that code base. So generally whenever a team develops a code, they as they go through the entire development cycle, they consciously or subconsciously create some assumptions about the code. These assumptions can also be considered as invariants of those code bases. So whenever I start the audit, I always try to break those assumptions. So an example would be that uh, your protocol may be integrating with a lending protocol, and you might be making an assumption that the XYZ call to that lending protocol will always be successful. But that's a false assumption. So what you as an auditor can do is find code paths or scenarios in which that external call can behave differently than the team expected. So that's the example of breaking the assumptions.
Can I make a question
I
here?
always
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
how much of the findings you have are related to external calls?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
How much of the findings are usually related to some strange external call?
Yeah, like a lot of them are found, in this category of findings. So, there are a lot of bugs that happen due to, calling an external protocol incorrectly, or not considering every scenario of that
Nice.
external protocol. Yeah. So whenever you like make false assumption, they you open up a bug to happen. So yeah. So another
Awesome.
thing that I do is I ask a lot of questions to myself about the code base. So from the start to the end of the audit phase, I like always try to write questions or ask why is this happening? Why this state update was made? Why this function exists? So every question you ask, you get more deeper understanding of that code base. And yeah, the next point, yeah, do not fall for developers' assumption. So this is more similar to the second point as well, because you should not follow the same assumptions that the development team had, right? Otherwise, you will end up analyzing the code base in the same way as the development team did. So, and that is not what you want. So this generally comes, I have seen like developers going, auditors going very deep in the documentations of the code base. So, when you go very deeply um, into the documentation, you subconsciously make the same assumptions as the dev team. So it becomes difficult for you to think out of the box from that frame of mind. So yeah, it's always good to start the audit or do the audit with least assumptions or a fresh mindset as possible.
But what you mean with a fresh
And
mindset, like, is trying to not get on your own
yeah.
mistakes, like, because you usually always evaluate the contract the same way, you mean?
Yeah, so kind of that, but you know, if you go deep into the same frame of the development or the audit, for example, if you have like state updates, like the user will do X,
I
then user
see.
will do
I see.
Y,
Makes
then user
sense.
will do X, Z, right? So if
Awesome.
you like always keep this frame of mind that you will miss the opportunities to explore other code paths, like what if the user calls y at the start, what happens at that point? So these are the frame of mind that you need to adopt or
Awesome, bro.
practice yourself. And yeah, do not get afraid of complexity. When you are an auditor, complexity is your ally. So, the more complex a code base is, there are more surface area to attack. There are more chances of finding, unexplored code paths or, extreme edge cases. So, complexity is always your ally as an auditor. Yeah. So these are the tips to getting into the auditing space. So if you are just a beginner who is starting out the starting out to learn audits, then this should be your this could be your basic path. Like you can start with basics of Ethereum and Solidity. How the blockchain itself works, how transactions are propagated, how things happen behind the scenes. Then you can start with Solidity, learn the basic syntax of it, how the code is developed and how the contracts are, developed and placed. Next, you can do some get acquainted with some toolings like compilers, frameworks like Hardit and Foundry. And if you really want to go into it, then node softwares as well, Geth and other softwares. Then you can do is you can learn about the common smart contract bugs. So there is a website called Common Bugs Library or something, which lists the basic kinds of smart contract bugs like reentrancy, overflow, underflow flows, all those kind of things. So once you get acquainted with that, then you can start with CTFs. There are like quite a few like famous CTFs, which are ether not, capture the ether. There is also securium races, which at where you can take part and uh, get a better understanding of your uh, like knowledge about the smart contracts and solidity. The other thing is to read past audit reports. So, when you read an audit report, you like develop a mindset where, you see uh, how a bug was exploited, how, mistakes in smart contract cause issues. So that comes when you read previous audit reports, and this can be from, like Code Arena or Sherlock, or even the traditional firms as well, Trail Operates, Open Zeppelin, all of that. Once and you don't need to like go very deep into these steps. You don't need to do all the CTFs. You don't need to do all the audit reports. Just so you can get familiar with the concepts and the bugs. Once you are comfortable with that, then you can start doing contests yourself, and compare yourself with others, so how you stand. And with while doing contest, a crucial piece is to also do your result analysis. So what's done in that is you compare your results uh, with the other auditors. So maybe you found just two issues, and the code base had 10 of them. So you will need to analyze what was the reason you missed the other eight issues.
Amazing.
What can be done that the next time you see those issues, you should be able to like identify them and report them.
I
So
imagine you
that's
must
the like
I imagine you must be reading like
yeah.
every contest on C4, right? Of the results, the findings. Pretty much you do that every day, right? Part of what you're doing.
uh, Nope, I don't do like every contest, but yeah, on which I participate, I like always try to read all the other issues that I missed. So, because if I'm going very hard on a code base and still I'm missing some bugs, I should be like, do the analysis to make sure that the next time I see this kind of bugs or this kind of scenario, I should not miss them.
And
So that's the like basic concept of doing the analysis.
one more question
Yeah.
that I have for you is that the biggest problem auditors face today is that so everyone is very stuck in a learning stage. Like everybody gets stuck to CTFs, and when they open C4, you know that for the first hour, you are not someone with your experience, but if you're a beginner, for the first hour you're blind. You don't see the mistakes that the developer can make. Sometimes you feel that the developer is much better than you. So how do we actually start? How to overcome that challenge? That confidence is a confidence thing.
Yeah. I guess that basically boils down to having too much to learn, in a limited time frame. So I even tweeted about this a while ago, that there could be a million ways to like learn auditing, right? But you don't need to follow all of them. Right. So you only need to do just enough so that you get the concept, so that you understand the underlying things happening under the hood. So that should be enough. So once you like get to know about reentrancy, how it happens, and what are the common patterns under which reentrancy happens, then you can start applying that concept on a real code base. You don't need to like read
Awesome.
all the issues regarding reentrancy. That
I
will take
understand.
like a million years. Yeah. And yeah, last, if you know want a specially curated list of all the contents, then you can choose to pay for courses and learn from them. So this is the like this would be the track for beginners. But if you already have started doing audits and consider yourself as a mid-level auditor, so these are the like things I also like try to follow, which is like try to follow the top auditors in this space. There are like a bunch of very really good auditors, which are also like very active on Twitter or on their blogs. So they publish articles, they publish postmortems and all sorts of things. So follow them and read their content. Maybe like try to have a conversation with them, uh, which is also a good thing of our industries. You can reach out to anyone, any of the top auditors currently, and they'll simply like 90% of the time they will reply to you. You can ask your questions, maybe like not very basic question, but yeah, they generally reply. When I was when even I was starting, I used to reach out to good developers and good auditors and ask questions about audits or Solidity or Ethereum. The next thing is to read their reports. Like once you like uh, figure out that these are the good auditors, always try to like read out all their bugs submitted in a contest. So even the I even read the invalid ones, just to get into their mindset, that what were they thinking while auditing this code base, how were they able to find out this bug or this extreme scenario. So this helps a lot if you can understand their mindset, if you can uh, you know get into their thinking, that how they were thinking while they saw this piece of code. So that really helps your auditing game and takes it to like another level. The next thing is to like define or create your own bug finding process. So I'm also like trying to do this, because finding bugs is different and finding bugs consistently is a totally different thing. So when you have a process backing your audits, you are more likely to find more and more issues and provide a better coverage to the protocol, and a lot dedicated time for learning and exploring new concepts and new things in this space. So um, I like always try to read new blog posts or newsletters or any other postmortems or any other like security side of uh, uh, knowledge base that comes out. And while doing that, it all automatically expands your knowledge base. So whenever you read something new, you becomes more likely to find a bug or find a similar pattern in the next project that you do. So there are different like approaches for audits. This is very discussed topic, discussed thing on Twitter and other forums, which is like bottom to top or top to bottom approach. So bottom to top is when you like start with the smaller parts of that code base. So if you see an example, so this is the master chef contract from sushi shop. So if you see the contract, this is the main contract, right? And it depends on like other contracts, like it is inheriting ownable, it is also importing other files. So in the bottom to top approach, what you do is you like try to understand the smaller code bases first, and then you dive into the main contract, just so when you read this, you will have the understanding of what safe ERC20 does, what SafeMed does. And in the top to bottom approach, you generally start with the main contract first. So you will start auditing the master chef contract first, and every time you see a dependency, you just uh, mark it as thing to explore in future. So once you do complete this contract, then you can then go to smaller pieces of code like the libraries or the inherited contracts. And there are like different scenario or different cases when these two approaches becomes more suitable. So like in private audits, I like always try to follow the bottom to top approach. So because in private audits, this approach basically needs more time, right? Because you will first need to uh, go through all dependencies, and then you will come to the main contract. So this needs more time. So whenever you have like a relaxed duration for the audit, you can follow this approach. I do this in private audits because in them I can choose to like I can choose that I'll do this audit in 1 week or 10 days or 12 days. So that is when I do this approach. And in the audit contest as well, I try to do follow the same approach where I go bottom to top for the code base. There are like scenarios where top to bottom approach gives you better results. This comes under like the time based bounties, like if you see a new bounty getting launched on Immunify, then you don't have the luxury to go through all the dependency first and then go to the main contract. In time based bounty or audit, you will need to uh, you will need to go through the main contract first so that you can find the bugs quicker and faster than anyone else. And also when I do parallel audit, so maybe I am doing 2 3 contests in a time frame of 1 week, then I try to do like this approach, because I'll only look at the main contracts, and maybe ignore the dependency, or only look at them if the time permits. So yeah, so both of these have their use cases and
Awesome.
pros and cons. Yep. So now let's come to the smart contract bugs. As you may remember, I uh, mentioned that you need to develop your own bug finding process. So this is kind of what that is for me. So like I have like categorized like the common bugs into 3 to 4 categories. So the first is the EVM slash solidity level bugs, which include like overflows, rounding issues, and like issues with external calls. So there is this is also a category in itself, because when you do an external call, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. The calling function, the called function can re-enter your code. It can revert. It can like do all sorts of things. It can consume a lot of gas, or maybe
Can I
a
make a question
scenario
here?
would be, yeah.
So one question for you that I have is, how usually, how often are you simulating? So how often are you forking the chain on Foundry, let's say, and simulating external calls? Because well, I'm thinking these black hats, they have some sort of infra that they can just simulate the whole chain and start playing, with the addresses, with the responses. I mean, how often are you doing that?
Yeah. We like I do that like quite often, because whenever the code base I am auditing interacts with an external protocol, like maybe it is interacting with Uniswap or Compound. So I can't like create all the like the compound like lending market on my own on my local machine, right? I can't create that. So what I do is I like fork the chain which already has a compound instance on it, and then I try to simulate those external calls.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is the like this was the EVM level bugs. The next category comes which are the project specific bugs. So these are the like logical flaws or in the code base. So you know maybe if the protocol is trying to develop a lending market, then there could be like a flaw in their interest rate formula or a flaw in their liquidation process. So that comes under the this category. And the other example would be deviation from specs, right? Maybe like the specification or documentation of product, the project was saying something different, and the actual implementation is totally different. So that could be like a bug or a something to pay attention to. The next category comes like composability bugs. These are like bugs which originate due to like integration with external protocols. So like maybe you are trying to create a lending pool or an AMM pool for ERC20 tokens. So bug could be like does your pool handle all types of decimal tokens? Like does it work with 18 decimal tokens correctly? Does it work with 6 decimal token correctly? And things like that. Next would be like example would be you know like EIPs. So maybe you mentioned that your code base should follow that a specific EIP, maybe EIP 4626, like the vault standard. But your actual implementation is different. Maybe they are not implementing a certain function of that EIP. So that comes under a bug. And third one example would be to like extreme scenarios of the external protocol. So for example, if you are like integrating with compound, so what happens when the something like something trickier happens on compound. Maybe there are scenarios like compounds C token exchange rate can be manipulated. So how your protocol behaves on for that instance. So if compound protocol gets paused, so how does your protocol handles that scenario? These comes under the like the external protocol scenarios. And the next one is the chain level bugs. So this these are specific to the chain you are trying to develop the protocol for. So like there is always front running and MEV issues for the projects that gets developed for Ethereum. And if you are developing it for Arbitrum or Optimism, there are some like EVM differences. There are like you know uh, some differences in the EVM level. So does your protocol correctly handles that or not? So if not, that would be a bug. Next, this is my like a generic threat model, which I try to imply on all the code bases that I audit. So whenever I am like seeing a function, I try to like uh, try all possible input values to that function. Maybe like if it is taking 3 parameters, I'll try to provide null values, extreme like extremely high values, extremely low values, all sorts of permutation of inputs to see how the function or that protocol behaves in those scenarios. Next, I try to get an idea of all the possible contract states. So, maybe like sometimes there are like if conditions, for loops, and all sorts of other kind of jump conditions. So I always try to explore all those scenarios and how the protocol behaves in those scenarios.
Can I make a question here too?
Yeah, yeah.
How often are you decompiling code and analyzing or try to reverse some sort of bytecode? And how often are you facing you during your audits?
Uh, I don't like generally have to like decompile codes because generally like I do audits where I already have the code base. The compilation like comes handy when you are trying to see an unverified contract on a chain, right? So that is when the decompilation comes handy. So you try to find out all the states and all the functions of that contract and how they operate. Just
Awesome.
so maybe analyze the contract in that. Yep. So another example of this thread model would be like multiple invocations of the of a function. So maybe like just like our master chef example. So in this we have a deposit function and a withdraw function, right? So the general flow would be that the user will deposit some tokens and then he'll withdraw. So and that's when the state get closed. So but I always like uh, you know try to invoke the withdraw function twice. So maybe the user deposited once and he tries to withdraw twice. What happens in that scenario? Does the like protocol handles that well, or if not, that could be a bug. Yep. So next is would be the breaking the order of execution. So this contract like also has an harvest function, which is to collect the accrued rewards. So once a user deposits, for as long as he stays in the contract, he'll keep receiving rewards. So the general flow is like user deposits, then he claims his rewards, then at last he withdraws. I like you know try to break this assumption of this order of execution. So instead of like depositing uh, collection like harvesting and withdraw, I would try like deposit, withdraw, and then the harvest. How does the protocol behaves in that scenario? Or maybe just randomly withdraw first, or uh, maybe try any other kind of like permutation. So if the protocol doesn't handle all of those scenarios correctly, that would be a bug. So yeah, so this is like basically my my audit process where if I have like a 10-day audit, I'll always try to follow this process, which starts with setting up repos and maybe running all their test cases and seeing just getting started with the code base. uh, the another like important thing like I always try to do is I maintain two repos of the code base. So the first one remains unchanged. I try to not make any comments or notes in that repo. And the second one would contain all my notes on all my audit tags and all my extra test cases that I write. So the reason for doing this is when you add audit remarks, so like I added uh, a comment here, right? That something is off here. So this is my uh, you know my way of thinking, that this statement like kind of pollutes my view. So every time, the next time I'll see this statement, my attention will always go to this comment. So this like kind of pollutes my code base. So what I generally do is I try to maintain a separate copy of this code base, and I always add these comments in that copy, just so the original copy remains unchanged, and without any additional comments or distractions. So this has some benefits which I analyzed after I tried it, which is like maybe this statement has two bugs, right? And if I make a comment here, uh, every time I see this statement, my attention will go to this comment. So there are chances like I won't be able to find the second bug which exists in this statement. But if this comment is not here, so maybe the next time I see this code, I may think differently, and analyze this code
That's
differently,
very nice, bro.
and maybe like able to find the second scenario which can happen over these statements.
So you
So
always auditing the code you didn't commented, right? And then you just go back to that code to make sense of everything.
yep, I try to keep the developer comments there, just so if they are because they help in understanding the code base. I don't make additional comments in the code base. So I'll always maintain a separate copy of this code base, and add my comments, my notes, my audit tags, all of those in that copy, just so this copy remains clean and neat. Yep. So next, I always uh, try to divide the audit duration into 3 to 4 phases. So, if I am doing a 10-day audit, so, I would divide it into 3 phases. Like first 10%, the first day would be where I do some quick scans of the code, and, just quickly glance over the docs, just to get the idea of how the code base is architectured. And uh, from the docs I get to know that what the protocol intends to do. Maybe they are trying to build a lending protocol, maybe they are an NFT project, maybe they are AMM. So just a quick glance over the docs and codes. The next I do is create diagrams. So I try to create the external API of the code base, which means that I try to note down what are the external state changing functions of these contracts are. So for this contract, there could be uh, 10 to 15 function, but all of them are not state changing. So what I try is I note down that there are the certain functions which change the state of this contract. So for example, this would be a state changing function. Update pool would be one of them. Deposit, withdraw, and as I said, the collecting of harvest one. So this just when you create a table of these APIs, you can at one place see that these are the entry and exit points of the contract. So as an attacker also you need to focus on the entry and exit points of the protocol. The next I try to build is state transaction flows. So just in this example, So the state transition would be like user starts with deposit, then he collect his rewards, then he do the withdraw. So this would be a simple like state diagram or a state flow diagram of this code base would be. Uh, I separately try to create a flow of funds diagram where so instead of a single contract, there could be like a protocol with 10 contracts, and but only 2 to 3 of them will be holding funds. So I try to create a diagram or any sort of a table which lists uh, all those contracts which hold funds, and all those functions which can be called to pull out those funds. So that generally also help to focus your attention on the crucial or hot spots of the code base, which can result in getting more findings. And I always try to create the basic test of the entire flow of that code base. So in this case, I'll create a simple test case where a user deploys, he collects his rewards, and he withdraws, deposits, harvest, and withdrawals. So this is generally done on the first day, and the next like next 50% of my time would go to manual review. In this as well, I try to break down my reviews into two phases. The first one of them would be EVM context. So here I try to find EVM level bugs. So example would be, so like this statement. In this statement, so uh, this amount is getting subtracted from a state variable. So in an hypothetical scenario, if this amount becomes greater than this state, the statement will revert, right? So maybe we can have a potential to potentially DOS this system if we can somehow make this amount greater than this state. This won't happen in this case because you know in this case the amount will always be less than this state. But in complex systems where you see like statement of subtraction, so you can mentally be prepared to create a scenario where you can try to increase the subtracted value from the original amount, just so you can create DOS for the system where the system doesn't proceed any further. This would be an quick example. The other bugs would be that that I explained in the uh, previous slides, like overflows, rounding issues, and scenarios with external calls. I try to like explore all of them in this phase. The next round of manual review, when I do, I try to maintain the eagle eye context. So uh, here I like always keep context of what the protocol is trying to do. So if this is staking contract, so I have a mental model like this is how it should perform on deposit, this is how it should perform on withdraw. So and when I like review this code, I try to uh, I try to match the this implementation with my mental model. So my model would be like there would be like user states, there would be some global states that would be updated in the deposit function, and opposite to that, when a user withdraws, all the states which were updated in the deposit will now be resetted, right? So if there exist any state variable which is not getting reset, then that would be a bug. So I try to find these kind of issues in the second phase of my manual review. And the last 30 to 40% of my time, I try to resolve all the audit text. So maybe I found something is off in this statement, so I'll leave a remark uh, of audit, like something is off here. So when I like get at the last phase of my audit, I try to resolve all audit tags. They should either result in an issue, or they should be okay, right? So once all these are resolved, I try to like uh, apply my threat model, which I was like um talking about. Yeah, this. So for all functions, I'll try to provide random input values. I will try to invoke function in extreme orders, or maybe like try to update states which are not intentionally bound to happen. So all these kind of scenarios I'll try to uh, do in the last phase of my uh, audit phase. And I'll also like explore edge cases. So extreme cases. What happens like if the protocol receives a flash loan? So does it work correctly, or does it break anything? So that kind of thing gets found in generally in this phase of my audit process. So yeah, that would be. Next would be like the tools, or maybe like any tools that I use to better my audit process. So I try to maintain the minimal. I try to follow the minimalist approach. So I always like try to use least amount of tools or software products. So these also includes like the least amount of tools that I use. So I simply use VS Code, which has a auditor extension, which is called Solidity Visual Auditor. This is the tool which gives you these highlighting of audit and other kind of bookmarks. Next, I use Foundry and Chisel for testing. So if if you are not already familiar with Chisel, so it's a great tool which can be used to uh, get faster output of short Solidity snippets. If I show an example, so this is the tool. So maybe if you want to see the max value of any type, so you can just do this, and it will return you value. Before this, we used to go to remix and write the entire contract for doing so. This is quite a handy tool way which you can use to maybe validate some calculation that are happening in the code base. Maybe some a mathematical statement is there which you want to validate, so that you can do by this. These two are like some handy tools which comes handy. So this is like a comment generator. So whenever like I see some difficult mathematical operation in the code base, so I try to like create a simple normal mathematical
Nice.
equation from that. Yeah, so which I can now paste here. So this equation makes much more sense than a very complex equation like this, for example. This is like hard to understand at the first glance, right? uh, but if I like try to write in it in this form, it would become much more readable, and I'd be much more. It would be much more easier to understand whenever I comes to this part of code. The next one is uh, yeah, this calculator tool. So generally, like in Solidity code bases, always like you are always dealing with E18 or E27 values. So this tool generally comes in handy. So if you want to multiply two big numbers, so you know it simply gives
Wow,
you
bro,
the
that's
results
real
without.
alpha. That's real alpha. I'm always beating, my
Yeah,
head with these numbers, bro. That's thank you for that.
yeah, because it's hard to like uh, get meaning of numbers when they are denoted in the exponential form. So maybe like 1e minus 5 or 1e plus 10. So, that's generally hard to understand, but this comes quite handy. Those were the, just the list of tools that I use. Some, extra tips would be to like always try to audit a single code base at a time, because when you go deep into a single code base, there are more chances that you can come out with multiple bugs, or a more better audit and a better coverage for the protocol. So always try to do a single audit at a time. You can take breaks, but uh, switching code bases in a matter of days, or in a matter of hours is not generally recommended. So I always like try to take breaks between audit session. So I like generally do 2 to 3 sessions a day, where I generally do audit, and always try to take a half an hour or even 45 minutes break between them. So also, you should not like go too deep into the protocol docs. This is like an interesting one, because most people will say like you should always read docs in depth. While I try to get like basic idea of the code base from the docs, but I never go like full into the docs ever. So unless there is a explicitly need to understand a different mechanism of a code base, so that's when I refer to docs. Otherwise, I always like go with a fresh mindset, and try to audit the code base and see how the functions and the states are behaving. And always try to choose complex code bases. As I said, complexity is an auditor's ally. So
Bro, that's a crazy
the more
statement, you know? That's a crazy statement because every time I see these contracts, like I have 15 contracts, I go nuts, but this is actually true. The more complexity, more likely you have a mistake in there.
Yeah, definitely. Because the surface area for attacks increases. If you have 15 contracts, there will be like 50 external functions. So, you might have uh, better chance of exploiting one, two, or even five, 10 of them.
One question for
Um,
you, one
with
question, one question for you is that sometimes when you have the scope of the contracts, you have the contracts, they usually use an icon, some emoji to show what contracts are dealing with money. How often you can use another contract that's not, dealing with money as means of attack? There's a problem in the middle, let's say.
yeah, the bug can be found at any place in the code base, right? Whether it handles the funds or whether it doesn't. Because even if if even if it doesn't handle some funds itself, it may be like providing necessary value to other contracts. For example, oracles, they don't hold funds themselves, but they provide prices which are consumed by contracts which hold like funds. So anything which can go off in the oracle will impact the uh, funds holding contracts. So you should analyze, always try to analyze both. Yeah.
Awesome.
The next one would be around public contest. So you if you have the choice, you should like try to compete in contest when there are a lot of them are running parallelly, because the auditor pools get diversified, or gets divided into if there are like 5 to 10 contests running on different platforms. So maybe some auditors will be doing contest A, some will be doing contest B. So there will be like less competition and more chances for you to get better rewards. For bounties, I always like try to choose reputed projects, because they are the ones who are likely to pay you money when you report a bug, as compared to any new degen project which can just ghost you when you report a bug. And the last one would be the most most useful tip, which would be to don't get burned out, because in this industry you have the opportunities are endless. You can do bounties, you can choose private audits, you can do public contests. So the opportunities are uh, they are a lot. So what auditors do is they try to like uh, participate in all of them, or um, devote extra hours from their day uh, to get a better slice of the rewards pie. But in the end gets burned out, and which impacts their health and their performance as well in future audits. So try to maintain a healthy work life balance. And yeah, that would be it. Yep, this is my, yep,
Brother,
Twitter handle.
this
If
is,
you like
thank you
you
so
can follow me.
much. This is all, was amazing. I learned a lot today. Some things you threw in there were really like, the way you simple the math, the way you say to look at invalids. This is really like a lot of alpha. I have some questions. So I invited a lot of people to speak so they can ask questions. But first, I'm gonna go through the chat questions from the community so you guys can think on the questions you guys wanna do on the mic. Okay. And the first question that I have here from Satyan is it compulsory to understand each and every function of the contract or the protocol from basic to advanced to find loopholes in the protocol?
Sorry, my internet is like going down. So can you please repeat?
Yeah, of course. So his question is, how deep you need to dive in a protocol to find the bugs? Can you do it fast? Do you need to know every function, every state? How does it work?
As I said that in my audit strategies. So there are like two approaches: top to bottom or bottom to top. So based on your preference, or the time duration that you have with that code base, you can choose either of them. And if you have limited time, uh, you can just choose the main contracts and try to audit them and find bugs in them.
Amazing.
And if you have plenty of time, then you can analyze each of the components of that code base. The more you analyze, the more will be the chances of finding bugs.
Amazing, buddy. The next question is, do you jump straight into the code or do you read the docs first to get a better idea of the protocol?
Yeah, so I always like uh, just do some quick scans of the docs just to get the idea of what the code base is. Like, is it maybe a lending protocol or something else? Just that, and I try to like go with a fresh frame of mind to the code base.
Awesome. Next question is, how do you approach a code base that contains a lot of assembly? And how do you approach a code base that contains a financial product like options, let's say?
Yeah, so code bases around options are generally like generally complex. So in that, I uh, always try to like start with the smaller contracts first, and once I understand them, then I go to the main code bases. There are like certain patterns between options protocols. So once you understand one protocol, it becomes easier for you to understand the second one. So as you audit more code bases, you get better at understanding them.
Amazing. And what about assembly? How do you usually deal with a lot of assembly in a code base?
Yeah, use Chat GPT because
Nice. Nice tip.
it's it's
Amazing, buddy.
like really good at explaining what the assembly code is doing.
Amazing. So the next question is, how do you distribute your time? How much time do you continue on an audit? And which is the most focused area you entered in a contract? I don't get the second part, I guess. How much time do you spend in a contract in an audit usually? Depends on the code base, right?
Yeah, depends on code base and maybe my preference as well. I like I've seen like a pattern like where I perform better in like lending markets. So I always, whenever I have a choice between a lending market or maybe an NFT project, I'll always try to choose the lending market, and the my audit process it remains the same, which I described
Amazing.
in the presentation as well.
Awesome.
So
No
yeah, it
problem.
remains same.
So last question from the communities in the text is, how do you create a diagram calls and the state transitions? Do you use an application or pen and paper? So do you have any sort of graph diagram tool?
I used to do it on paper, but recently I've tried Miro. So I try to draw my diagrams on Miro, and it's quite handy.
Amazing, buddy. Now, everybody, I invited you guys to speak. Feel free to open your mics and make questions.
Hey guys, I'm Fox. I have multiple questions I should have been asking on the way, but uh, in the list of vulnerabilities that you're looking for, you didn't mention cryptography bugs. Uh, is this just not relevant? So cryptography bugs, so like when there's some key signing, key sharing, key passing, this type of stuff, is this just not very relevant, not very often, or is just not your expertise?
Uh, Yeah, it's true that it's not very often because all the uh, crypto signing and cryptography part that generally happens like off chain. On like on the smart contracts level, you generally see signature validations or Merkle proof validations, those kind of stuff. But yep, there are like certain patterns while doing while like developing code bases like that. So you can always try to look at any respected code base which has like already perfected maybe signature validation or Merkle proof validation, and always compare it with that code base and see what's the difference, or is there any key piece missing. So if there is, there could be a bug or some potential mishappening.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Small technicality. You've mentioned that you create two repos. So there's the original repo and you make your own repo. Why not just make a branch? Is there any reason for it?
That was just my my way of doing things, because as I said, I just maintain two copies just to keep my notes and my audit text separate from the original code base, just so my vision or my thinking process doesn't get polluted, and I don't focus on the audit remarks always whenever I see that code. I should always have like a fresher mindset or a fresher perspective whenever I see a code statement or a function. So that's just my way of doing things.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Last question from me. So, I have some experience in professional auditing because I did work as a blockchain engineer in a consultancy. Do you think I can go into code arena, Sherlock, code hoax, or anything, and actually have a chance to score some bounty? Because from my point of view, it's like, I don't know, $20,000 bounty and 2,000 participants. So probably I'm not gonna get anything. Should I try, even just for fun? I can get something, or is it very complicated?
No, no, you can definitely try. I would, um, recommend you to try that, because from the outside it always seems difficult. Like there are like 200 guys competing in this code base, but when you actually try that, maybe you will have uh, maybe a different mindset than the rest of them, and you can maybe end up with a unique finding and a greater payout than anyone else. So totally worth try.
Thank you.
Amazing. More question, guys?
Thanks, Fox.
Yes, I guess this is it. Bro, thank you so much, Akshay, for the time. This was really, really like a big learning experience. This will benefit a lot of people in the future. Do you have any closing thoughts, any message you want to leave for people that will listen to this on YouTube or something?
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Miss. Thanks for having this session and inviting me. It was really great to be with you guys. So yeah, the closing thoughts would be like this is an interesting space. A lots of things are already happening, and a lot will be happening in future. There will be like new cycles of this crypto market, and more rewards and more opportunities will be coming up for good auditors. So this is an exciting space to be in.
Exactly. Thank you so much, brother, and see everybody later. Bye bye.